All right, 5:30. This is aligned. There's going to be a core and upper body focus tonight, but we're going to break things down and go pretty slowly. But sometimes moving slowly with a lot more intention is, you feel it a lot more. And yes, a cloth belt will actually absolutely work in place of a strap. It's kind of the same concept. So let's make our way over to hands and knees. If you want to cushion your knees with a blanket, you can do that. I'm going to take myself up on that option. All right, so you're going to take your hands, and if you feel a little bit not so strong lately in your arms, you're going to walk your hands back by your knees, and that might be a good spot for everyone to start. So press into all of your knuckles with just your thumbs up for a moment. Press into your hands with just the thumbs up. You might feel your forearms engaged quite a bit, and lower them down. A couple more times. If your thumbs don't lift very high, no big deal. And then try to keep your arms straight, and your wrists are right underneath your shoulders, and you're going to put a little weight in your hands and lift your heels of your hands up off the yoga mat, so you're on your finger knuckles. You're adding a little weight, and then lower back down. Again, pain-free range of motion. So I can't see your hands. You don't have to cram them into any particular shape. Spread the hands wide, press into the knuckles, lift heels of the hands up, and lower down. So the thumb just goes along for the ride now. We moved it earlier. Maybe the thumb just lightly touches the yoga mat. Let me show you from over here. Or maybe it lifts up. And as this gets easier, you can walk your hands further away from you and do the same thing. Rarely do we strengthen our forearms. This is super easy for you. By all means, feel free to do this in a plank pose. I'm going to do it like a modified plank. And as soon as I go there, I notice that I can't lift up quite as high. So finding that range of motion where you're at your edge, where something's happening, but it's effortful. It can be challenging, but not impossible. Then try to keep going, but try to control the downward movement. And I can't do that far out with both hands at the same time, so I'm going to scooch it in a little bit and slowly lower those hands down. And then go ahead, shake out a little bit. Come to standard tabletop position. Spread those hands wide. Notice if there's any sensations, any vibrations around the arm muscles. And then you're just going to lean your butt back as if you were coming to child's pose. Keep the arms as they are. As you lift up, lift the palms up, really flexing your wrists. And then keep the arms as they are. Use your core muscles. Come back to tabletop. Lean back. Lean forward. Same thing. If you need more of a challenge, you're welcome to try this in a modified plank. Noticing if one part of the range of motion is harder or easier than the other. Really flexing at the wrists at the top. The next time you lean back, stay there. Flex the wrists. Then a couple of times lower the hands down. and lift them back up. You can look at your hands while we do this too. And come back up. And then we're just going to start to make fists and put weight on fists. And then just start to move your hands in weird ways, putting a little bit of weight on them. Feeling on your pinky fingers. You can do one hand at a time and leave the other hand alone. You can turn your hands out to the side. Internal rotation, external rotation. While we're doing this, rarely do we load our hands, wrists, forearms in many different ranges in a yoga class. So explore. Not going anywhere that's too intense, that you can't breathe. Wiggling the fingers, perhaps. And then make your way to a seat on, I'm going to sit on my knees because that's most comfortable for me. You can move however you want to, or sit however you want to sit. Extend your arms straight out in front of you. I guess I'm at an angle here. All right. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, like as high as you can. I know we always tell you not to do this in yoga. Just do it here. And then let your arms come down. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. And then depress the shoulder blades so they're moving down. Shrug up. Depress. And then we're going to protract and retract our shoulder blades. So protract, let the shoulders wrap around your ribs. You're stretching your arms forward, kind of like Frankenstein. And then retract the shoulder blades. Squeeze the shoulder blades together on your back. Protract. Retract. Protract, almost like a cat pose. Retract. Notice what you're noticing. And then can you mix up those ranges of motion? So maybe you give it a shrug, protract, retract, depress, retract. Move the arms around using your shoulders and the muscles in the upper body. Let the arms just go along for the ride. And then last one to try. Press the hands straight down. Pretend you're pressing yourself up off the ground. So flex the wrist like we did in our wrist warm-ups. Pretend you're in like an upward facing dog. So the hands press down, wrists flex, collarbones broad. And release. All right, from here, come to hands and knees on your yoga mat, cushion as needed. And just like we did seated, first thing you're going to do is shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, but now it's a closed chain, meaning your arms are no longer floating in the air. You've got like some feedback from the mat underneath you. And then deep press the shoulder blades. Shrug, shoulders towards the ears. See if you can take the neck out of it and the core out of it and try to keep it to the thoracic spine, that upper back. And then deep press the shoulder blades. They move down your back. It's tricky. And then from here, protract the shoulder blades, pressing with the hands, let the shoulder blades round around your ribs, so there's a little puff up in the back. And then retract the shoulder blades. Squeeze them together like you're grabbing a pencil back there. And protract and retract. And then let's try putting all of the motions together again. So shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. You press the shoulder blades, retract, and protract. Shrug. Either depress or retract, you decide. Depress or retract, and then protract. Then you smooth out that range of motion. Don't get obsessed with what came in what order. Just notice if you can find some fluidity and some sense of feeling of moving shoulder blades around on your back. A lot of the alignment cues we give are good, but there is only one alignment in each moment for you. It's going to change based on the way your body changes over time. And then reverse the movement, whatever you were doing there. I'm going to do start with protraction and work my way backwards. Trying not to let the low back get involved. This way is much harder for me to end in the shrug. I can't do it perfectly, so don't feel it. You know, do it perfectly, you're just exploring. And then go ahead, sit back, grab your strap, belt, whatever you have. We're gonna go back to arms and shoulders. I just want to give us something to, as a measure here, a unit of measure here. If you don't have a strap, you can do this with hands around the waist, around the ribs. So on your inhale, feel your breath expand into the strap. So you want rib cage to puff up, back of the body to puff up. And then as you exhale, the hands can move away from each other a little bit more. Navel can move to spine a little bit more. So the circumference of the circle gets smaller. Inhaling to open up. Exhaling, navel to spine, tighten up the circle. Breathe in, 360, breath gets bigger. Exhale, breath gets smaller. Circle gets smaller. Circumference bigger on the inhale. Smaller on the exhale. So we're going to try to hold on to that breath as we move through the rest of class. You'll notice that it wasn't like a severe sucking in of the navel. It's just a soft contraction. All right. From here, You're going to make your way up to standing. And you're going to hinge forward at the hip. You're looking for a lot of length in your spine. Soft bend in the knees is good. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Deep press. Retract. Protract. You can also do this with arms flying back behind you. Shrug your shoulders up towards the ears. Deep press. Retract. Protract. And then find neutral. So find that perfect balance of all four of those things. And then stretch the arms forward. Bend the knees as much as you need so that you can get length in the spine. Lie the right arm back so it's like you're swimming. And then the right arm forward, left arm back. Move slowly with your 3-6 breath. If it would be helpful to you, you can put the belt back on around your torso. And eventually fly both arms back and fold over the legs. Walk the feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Feel what it feels like to do nothing in the upper body as you pull up on the quads and press into the mat with your feet. And then crawl your way out to down dog. And knowing you can always set up down dog for child's pose or hands and knees. And then just like we did before, move the shoulders around. So shrug. Press through the hands, deep press the shoulder blades. They're moving up towards your tailbone. And retract, protract. And then find that balance of all of them that works for you. So you might have to play a little bit, but find the down dog that you can settle into where your shoulders are doing just enough work, not too much, not too little. You can get what you need out of the pose. And then look forward. Bring your feet to your hands. Fold over the legs. Fly the arms back, halfway lift. And a couple of times, pulse the arms up towards the ceiling. My palms are facing one another. If there's something else you want to do that. Get longer from tailbone to crown of the head. Feel your arms. Lift from the triceps. Stretch the arms forward. So biceps in line with the ears. And press yourself up to standing. All right. Next one we're going to do is going to be a push-up at the wall. If you're stronger than I am, you're welcome to do this on your yoga mat. Also, doing it on the edge of a couch could be really helpful. So what you're going to do is, let's see if I can get this picture. You're going to lean against your wall. Stand up straight. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Walk yourself out a little bit. And then start to bend the elbows. Lower the chest towards the wall. Let your forehead touch the wall. And then press yourself back up. You're trying to stay long from pelvis to rib cage. So knit lowers in. And if that arm position didn't exactly work for you, you can make it a little bit wider. You can do like a tricep push-up like you would do on a yoga mat. Let's do at least 10, maybe 20. And as you do it, you're going to practice that 360 breathing. And just like you just did in down dog, you're going to find that spot of just enough shrug, just enough depression, just enough protraction and retraction. I'm still with you. Keep going. You need to move. You can play with, if this feels really easy, walking the feet back a little bit further, but also move the arms around. So they don't have to be perfectly symmetrical. I notice as I get tired, I try to lead with my neck, so I'm going to come back to what's going on in my shoulders. And then walk your way back to your yoga mat. From here, let's stretch out the arms, cross your right forearm across your torso, grab it with your left hand, breathe. Release your left arm. Your right arm's going to move out to the side, and see as you move that right arm up overhead, the shoulder blade lifts up with it. So you're not trying to keep it depressed down. You're letting it, you can even feel back with your left hand, move around in a half circle-ish. Go right to the left side before we stretch it out. So left arm up overhead. Come back down. Seeing if there's any of those snap, crackle, pop pieces of the shoulder. And eventually crossing left arm across your torso, grabbing it with the right hand. Checking in with your breath. Go ahead, let that go. Grab your block. If you don't have a block, a book would be fine. Doesn't have to be even as tall as this. You're going to place it underneath your left palm, right hand down. Drop the belly, open up across the chest, so cat, cow. Exhale to round. So asymmetrical cat, cow. Find your breathing. Notice when it's time to let your belly release. As most of us Americans, we try to hold our belly in because we think it looks better. But there is a function to letting the body move and relax. next time you come into cat pose, stay there. Use your core muscles to squeeze the navel up towards the sky. Press into the left hand. Gently move yourself into cow pose using your core muscles, but letting them soften. Cow. And then slowly release. Opposite hand on the block. So take a couple of kind of free-form cat cows. Just notice how the body has to move asymmetrically. It's supposed to feel funny. And then bring your core into it. Pose, hold, round, press into the hand, especially that right hand, navel up towards the sky. Slow and control, cow pose, soften and release the belly. Take note of how that right shoulder blade is moving. Pat. Rounding, almost feel like you're doing crow pose here. You're really pressing into the hands, rounding in the spine. And then gently softening, gaze goes forward. And come back to tabletop. And release. Block under the left knee. And then same thing. You get the idea. I'll be quiet. Take a moment to explore what has to stabilize and move here. Last side. Right knee on the block. I'm going to take the block out from under the knee. I want to show you one thing before we do good old standard cat-cow. Sometimes what happens is we have this kind of rounded forward posture, which maybe you don't have so much of right now after that warm-up. We have this, and then we try to do our cow pose or a back bend, and we create all of the curve in the neck. Think about someone poking you right between your shoulder blades, and then lifting and stretching back from there. So gaze can even stay at the same point either way, but it feels so much better moving from here. You can think about like your heart on a string rather than the neck doing all the work. And you can even hear how my voice changes. So take a couple of cat-cows moving from that space between the shoulder blades. And then down dog. Find that spot that's just right for you, your alignment. Maybe you're down dog in a chair, wall. Look forward, walk your hands and feet into meet about the center of your yoga mat. Hold over the legs. And then make your way onto a seat. You want to cushion your sit bones, you're welcome to do that. First thing we're going to do, we're going to curl up in a little ball. So if feet on the ground is plenty of work for you, hands on the shins, you're welcome to stay here. Otherwise, feet lift up. All right, if that's enough for you, you're going to stay right there and lift and lower back up. Otherwise, you can start to extend legs forward, arms forward, lower yourself all the way down to the ground. And then however you want, lift yourself back up to where you started and repeat. If you want to make it a more fluid range of motion, you can do that. How's your 360 breathing? Is there any breathing? Is the neck doing all the breathing? And then go ahead, come to a seat, upright, pause, feel. Notice the sensations of the body. Mine are in my torso, yours could be anywhere. And then go ahead, roll onto your back. Pelvis can be in neutral. Some people like to press the low back onto the ground, so you're like in a posterior pelvic tilt. So it's like you're trying to smoosh your hand underneath you. Feel your breath. Go ahead, lift your right knee over your right hip. So the knee's not even really close to the face, it's right over the hip joint. Take your right hand, press into the right thigh, pull the right thigh into the hand. I'll take my left leg out. Press enough so that you feel the core engage. And then without dropping it down, slowly lower the right foot down. You're trying to keep the torso more or less stable in the pelvis. Left knee over the left hip. Press hand into thigh, thigh into hand. Lower that side down and then start to switch right and left. If you need more of a challenge for your breath, you can do both legs together. Maybe the heels don't come all the way down to the ground. And also stretch your arms up with an imaginary hand there. Adding another lever to stabilize the room. I can tell as my legs get tired, my spine wants to move a little bit more. And take as many more as you need to even yourself up. And then come into a happy baby. So if your feet and your hands do not connect, you can hold behind your thighs. You can grab shins. You can rock side to side or be still. And what happens in your body when you move from core work down, just notice. Really trying to press the feet as if they could touch the ceiling. And then go ahead, make your way on the hands and knees and grab your blanket or your sliders. And I'll cushion my knees with my yoga mat. So tabletop pose, we've been here before in class. Pause and notice just being on a slightly unstable surface. Like a blanket or probably use a plastic bag if you have one. Doesn't have to be yoga blanket. Notice what your core has to do to keep you here. And then slide out a little bit. And pull yourself back in. So how far do you slide out? Maybe you go all the way to a modified plank. Maybe you only move half an inch. It's up to you. And then you get to pull back in. So we're pushing. And pull. I notice a shrug wants to happen when I pull. So with that awareness, I'm going through that. All right. Back in tabletop. My elbows always hyperextend, so it's a lot of effort for me to keep them soft. And now you're just going to pull. So blanket in towards the knees and then return. Blanket into the knees, so you're pulling in and return. And that's pretty easy for you to start to make this a circle. So kind of like those little tucks we did on our sit bones before. We roll the yoga mat over to one side. You're gonna have to round up like you're doing cat pose, and then over to the opposite side. Take a couple of circles. You'll notice one side might feel easier than the other. One hand might want to do more work than the other. And then move to the opposite side. So while we're doing all of this, we're trying to create muscles that can co-contract so that every time you come to your yoga mat, the same muscle does not do the whole pose. Come back to center. Take your yoga blanket or whatever you got a little bit longer. Do one more and then we'll put all the pieces together. You're going to come onto your belly on the yoga mat. I'm going to do this with bent elbows. Stronger, more intense would be straight elbows. I'm going to slap the floor with my hands and pull. Gotta get off your sticky mat. Forward and then push yourself back. That's super person. Yep, sticky mat has to go for sure. Try again. Pull yourself forward. Use your gripping fingers and then push yourself back. Kind of fun. Sweeping the floor at the same time, added bonus. And go ahead, release that down. Take a moment, pause. What's happening now in your body? And go ahead, get up. Roll up here. Roll out your yoga mat. You're going to do some sun salutations. And your only goal for these sun salutations is not to burn calories, not saluting the sun. You're just trying to see if now maybe some new ranges of motion are illuminated as you move through these. So start in down dog, which is not the traditional way to start. Come forward. Now you can walk, or if you want to jump your feet, you're going to jump yourself forward enough using your core muscles. Halfway lift. Notice what your shoulders have to do as you're starting to press in. Over the legs, sweep the arms all the way around. Hold yourself down. Halfway lift. Remember those push-ups we did before. You're absolutely welcome to take a different push-up variation. Pull the floor towards you. Uncurl the toes, baby cobra. Pull the heels of the hands back, stretch the heart forward. Remember, you're lifting with the space between your shoulder blades, not just your neck. Tuck the toes under. Press yourself back up to a push-up. Knees can stay down first, and then lift. And then go ahead. Forward. Bring your feet to your hands as fewer as many steps as it takes. You engage the core, halfway lift. Firm the back muscles. Fold over the legs. Keep the arms all the way up. Sit the hips back to chair pose. Any arm variation that works for you. Fold over the legs. Halfway lift. Arms can fly back if you like. Plant the palms, bend the knees now. Remember that little ball you were in before? If you like, you can tuck into that little ball and jump your way back to a chaturanga. And then I'm going to lower myself down for Cobra one more time. You can go to up dog. Pull the hands back. Draw the chest forward, armpits back. Tuck the toes under. Squeeze all those core muscles. Lift your way back up. Plank. Down dog. 5 breaths in down dog. 60 breaths. Circumference getting bigger. Circumference getting smaller. Gaze goes forward. You can walk forward or turn yourself into that little ball, bend the knees, and at the bottom of your exhale, feet come to the hands. Looks like you can jump through. Halfway lift. Fold. Stretch the arms all the way up. Chair pose. Hips back. In the upper body, get reminiscent of how you are doing your push-ups at the wall. Fold over the legs. With intention and control, halfway lift. Arms forward, back, down. What supports you the most? Palms. Now you have the option to step back or lift up into that little ball. Jump back to a tricep push-up, chaturanga, cobra, or up dog. Up dog really has that pulling action like we practiced seated, and then downward facing dog. Do more with your own breath. At your own pace. You forget some of it, don't worry about it. Hear the poses and the way your body remembers is you stay right. it's blocking one of them out, probably for a reason. When I come forward, I almost like to go right into that halfway lift if I'm moving. Whenever you're done with those, go ahead with your step your left foot forward for a lunge. A little stretch on the back side. This might be plenty for you. If you like, chest up, arms up. Twist. Right arm forward, left arm back. Play with that retract of the shoulder blades. Gently come back to center. Hands down to frame the front foot. Step back to down dog. Hands forward. Right foot forward. Left knee down. See what you're aware of in your body that might have been kind of primed before and what maybe feels still untouched. Do the arms that work for you. And then left arm forward, right arm back. Notice shrug, notice progression, retraction, protraction. One that's moving forward or back. Come back to center, down dog. And then walk the hands and feet in to meet in the center of your yoga mat. Bend the knees. Make your way all the way down. Butterfly, down angle, Padasana, whatever you want to call it. Be gentle with your hands on your feet. You don't need to pull on them. I actually keep thumb close to first finger. Pull on the ankles. Draw myself forward any amount. If you want to make this really active, think about pressing feet in towards one another, firming the outer thighs, softening the inner thighs. You stay more upright if that's plenty for you. Some of you can probably pull forward more. Notice again that angle and that connection between neck and the place between your shoulder blades. Want to intensify this, take your block between the feet, press the feet into the block, and same thing, holding it. Inner thighs softening, outer thighs firming. Notice those core muscles, what their role is here. Are you more neutral? Are you more rounded? Really, both versions are okay. Just notice what works in your body to give you what you need in class. The close tonight, and breathe with it. If you feel a softening happening, need a little bit more, you can make this block a little wider. Breath here. We're around, you're just breathing. Thumbs up. Arms to the side. Lay on your neck. Props out of the way. You never use the bolster. You need it harder with it. And take a moment, feel what feels like to lay flat on your back. Practice your arms. This might be enough for you. Or you can start to windshield wiper the legs left and right. Letting both knees move one side at a time. Wherever that feels complete for you, you can start to move into your final relaxation. You just put your layers on, you do your imagination, both head. Notice what's really going to help you relax. Notice what might still be thinking in the body. It seems to think you mind you service it. It's working really hard. A good reason to be working hard. Take a moment to reflect back on this funny little practice you did. On the moment you turned your computer or phone on. As you move through the transition, smooth or choppy. Notice what stands out is important to you. What stands out as important to you? When you have that, make your way up to a seat unless you'd rather pose on your back. With that information on what stands out as important to you, what are you going to do with that as you move through the second half of your week? Sometimes awareness is enough, but maybe there's something you need to do with it. Thank you all for joining tonight, or if you're joining on YouTube later on. Thanks for practicing. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank your body for being here. Namaste.